Today, I'm going to show you the exact process of creating a high converting welcome flow for your e-commerce brand. This is the same process we've used to build out over 100 welcome flows for the brands you work with. The welcome flow is extremely important to get right. So in this video, I'm going to break down how to avoid false attribution and make sure your welcome flow is actually measured correctly, the exact structure of a high converting welcome flow, and a step-by-step walkthrough to show you how to build your welcome flow inside of Klaviyo. If you're starting from scratch or you're trying to improve your email marketing, this video will be incredibly valuable for you. Starting off, I wanted to highlight some of the results of a welcome flow from one of our clients. Now, these numbers look great at a glance. Their welcome flow has generated nearly 50K over the last 30 days. There's nothing to complain about, right? But the attributable revenue for email number 1 can tell a false story if you don't set this up correctly. So let me explain. A lot of these conversions would have happened anyways because you're driving traffic to your site using paid acquisition from Facebook, Google, etc. So what's going to happen is you're driving traffic to your site, people will opt into your sign-up form for the incentive, then check their email to get that incentive, and if they convert, Klaviyo will now count that as an attributable conversion because they had an email touchpoint. But again, that's wrong because all we did was tell them to check their email. Also too, we have taken someone from your website where they were primed for converting into a mailbox full of distractions. And a great funnel that converts well and an optimized user experience is less clicks and minimize distractions. So how can we solve both of these issues? Now the answer is really simple, and it's by giving out the incentive in the sign-up form. So in this example right here for a client dog IDs, we give out the incentive on the last step. And right under the incentive, we have a CTA to go shop right away, which could close the form, or we could take them to a collection page like bestsellers. This solves both issues. The first being taking somebody off of your website and allowing them to continue shopping, which is the optimal user experience. The second being telling subscribers to check their emails in order to get their incentive, which will over attribute revenue to Klaviyo. And as much as I want to claim more revenue when we work with clients and saying email number 1 is killing it, that would be overstating our contribution. But that's not to say that the welcome flow isn't generating a high amount of revenue. It's still really powerful. And even when showing the incentive on the last step of the sign-up form, you can still generate results that look like this. This client has generated nearly 6 figures over the last 30 days, despite using the same exact method I just went over. It accounts for 30% of total email revenue in their Klaviyo, allowing them to print money on autopilot. So what I want to show you now is how you can achieve similar numbers by breaking down a high converting welcome flow. Now, we apply these 4 things to a lot of the clients we work with, helping them generate hundreds of thousands per month. So let's start off by going over a high converting welcome flow from one of our clients, Doughbug. The main component of any good welcome flow is going to be the offer. And of course, this goes hand in hand with your sign up form, so they should align. In this case for Doughbug, we have an offer for 10% off. If you can't offer a discount incentive, then try to do other things of value. For example, some of our clients have done monthly giveaways or given away ebooks that go in depth into solving a pain point. All right, so people have opted into our sign up form, they see the offer, but do they trust us? The answer is probably not, especially if this is their first time being exposed to our brand and our products. And people value the opinions of others, so they want to see what other people think or see proof that other people had a good experience by buying and using the product. So in email number 2 and number 3, we feature a rotating GIF that showcases the many reviews from Doughbug customers. This helps build trust with a subscriber, which allows them to more easily make a purchase. What we also need to keep in mind too is that people's interest window for purchasing is very small. Usually that window is going to be 24 hours and at most 48 to 72 hours. This will help boost revenue, especially for the last few emails where interest usually drops off. Also a note, these codes are one-time use, and I'll show you how to set them up later inside of Klaviyo. All right, final thing, let's talk about angles for your welcome flow. Each email in your flow should speak to a different pain point your subscriber is facing. In the first email, the angle is all about solving the picky eating struggles that parents face with their children. The copy then leans into how Doughbug turns mealtime into a fun, creative experience. Plates become playful, and suddenly veggies aren't the enemy, they're part of the adventure. Now, email number 2 taps into the emotional connection and personalization angle. It highlights how special it feels when a kid lights up seeing a plate made just for them. Then in email number 3, we bring in urgency and revisit the pain point of mealtime stress, but this time pair it with a stronger call to action. It reminds a parent that their discount is expiring soon and reinforces how Doughbug helps bring joy and engagement back to the table. What I'll recommend for your brand is to list out all the pain points your products help with, then rank them from most to least emotionally compelling. Once you've got that list, test them across your welcome emails to see what drives the most engagement and revenue. Now we're inside of Klaviyo. Let's go ahead and set this up. So I'm gonna come to the top right and hit build your own, give it a nice name, and then create manually. And then for the trigger, you want to trigger it based on a person being added to a list. So I'm gonna hit added to list, and then I'm gonna say email list, and then hit save. The first thing we're gonna do is set up the profile filters. So I'm gonna click on this and then hit add a filter. Now there are 2 profile filters we should set up if we're making a brand new welcome flow. The first one is someone triggering the checkout started event, meaning they have abandoned their checkout. If they reach this point, we should only be focused on getting them to convert and not distracting them with CTAs that take them up the funnel. So I'm going to come here and add the profile filter. I'm going to do what someone has done or not done, and then checkout started 0 times since starting this flow, and then hit save. The other filter we want to put into place is if somebody places an order. If they do, they shouldn't receive any more emails from this flow. So I'm going to come back here again and then hit and. Someone has done or not done, placed order 0 times since starting this flow, and then hit save. All right, now that we have the filter set up, let's set up the logic of our flow. Now, the first thing to do before setting this up is understanding your brand's sales cycles. Many D2C brands we work with have average order values of less than $50. And because AOV is so low, this is a purchase that doesn't require a lot of consideration. From the buyer's point of view, they're gonna be much faster to pull the trigger, most of the time in 24 hours or less. So we wanna make sure that we capture that interest right away. And what we actually like to do here at 11 Agency is sending out 2 emails during the first 24 hours. We've seen placed order rates increase by up to 11% when doing this. So what I'm going to do is add an email number 1 and then drag in a time delay and change that to 18 hours. And then we're going to add an email number 2. We'll add in 1 final time delay and then change that to 1 day. And then we're going to add an email number 3. Now, this is a great starting point, but to find out what time delay works best for your brand, I would do a conditional split. So I'm going to add in a conditional split after email number 1 and then add this in on the no side and then change this to 12 hours as a test. And then we're going to clone email number 2 and drag that over. And then we're going to remerge the paths after. And then on this conditional split, we're going to be doing a random sample and then doing 50% on both sides. So by doing it like this, you can see which time frame drives the highest place order rate. All right, so I'm going to upload email number 1 during this tutorial, and that means exporting each of these sections from Figma to Klaviyo. All right, first thing starting off, I'm going to copy over the subject line as well as a preview text and then hit save. Now that we have that done, let's edit this email. So starting off, we already built the footer as well as the section for the discount code. Now I'm going to show you how you can build this discount code section here in a bit, but first let's upload all of the image-based sections. So I'm going to drag in an image and then upload the first section. So that's going to be this. Do the second section, put in my third. Now you can see this section is a GIF and it's rotating around. Much more fun, much more engaging. Put in my 4th image block, and then right under the discount code section, I'm going to upload another image. So I'm going to drag that in, and then we're going to have that CTA button. Now we're going to upload the body copy. So I'm going to drag this in, put in the next image, and then upload that. Now this section here is again a GIF, and as you can see, it's much more playful, and you can see the creativity behind the product. I'm going to put in the how it works section, the Dealbook story, shop by style. And as you can see here inside of Figma, we have a 2x2 grid for the last section. So I'm gonna come here to the left-hand side and drag in columns and then select 2, and then both of them being 50-50. So I'm gonna drag in the image block right here, and then another one right here. Upload dishes, and then we'll do the same thing for the bottom 2. So we'll do 2, and then equal again. Drag in the image, select printables, and lastly, gift cards. Now zooming out and going up and down, it looks pretty good. And all we have to do now is add in the CTA links as well as alt text. So I'm gonna come back here and just copy them over. So here for the alt text, and this for the CTA links. Same thing for section 2. And then I'll do the same thing for the rest of these images. For the last thing, let's go ahead and do the coupon code section. So I'm going to come back out and then go to the coupon tab inside of Klaviyo. And as you can see here, I already made the coupon code for fun food. So I'm going to click in, and this is a percentage-based discount, and we have the discount for 10% off. And then for the expiration, it expires after 3 days. So I'm going to come here to the left-hand side and drag in some text, and then we're going to start typing. So I'm going to say use code, and then you'll want to put in this merge field right here. But this is how Klaviyo recognizes that this is a discount code. So I'm going to center this and then change the text to black. And then I'm going to change the text size to 30 pixels. For the font, we'll use this one right here. And then for that merge field, we're going to change that to this color. So this is looking pretty close, but let's add in a border. So I'm going to add in a border right here, make it dashed 2 pixels. That's looking pretty good. And we want to give it some room at the top and on the sides. So I'm going to add in some padding at the top and then on the side. And the last thing for us to do is add in the colors for the backgrounds. So for the text area background, it's a little bit lighter than everything else. So I'm going to click on this plus button right here and then paste in this hex code. And then for the outer background, I'm going to hit this plus button and then paste in this hex code. So as you can see right now, they match up perfectly. So I'll go ahead and delete the version up top. Now the final thing for us to do is to preview and test our email. So I'll come here to the top right, and we can see now that the discount code has preview in it, which means that Klaviyo recognizes the discount merge field. And after you do all your checks and set this live, you'll be able to convert way more prospects into first-time customers. Now throughout this video, I showed you how to create your own welcome flow that's going to convert and get tons of people to not only buy, but be absolutely hooked on your brand. But there might be something blocking you from generating as much revenue as you could from that welcome flow, and that thing is your email deliverability. Because in order for your emails to actually reach the inboxes of your customers, you need to have good email deliverability, which is one of the most confusing things to set up if you're new or not sure what you're doing. So click right here to check out the next video where I cover everything you need to know about email deliverability so you can fix your emails going to spam for good and land in your customer's inbox every single time. The best part about this is when you fix your email deliverability, you can unlock the full potential of revenue that you can generate through email and scale your brand to new heights. invites. If that sounds like something you want to do, I'll see you in the next one.